So begins another episode of the Inspired Disorder Podcast. With our hosts, Ray Taylor and Keith Spurlock. Disorder starts now.
Bam. Keith, how you doing today?
Good. How about you, man?
I'm doing good. And today we are joined by somebody that's been on arguably one of the best shows ever created for TV, Breaking Bad. He's been on one of the best podcasts arguably ever created, the Joe Rogan Experience.
Yeah.
Stuntman, actor, former MMA fighter, the beard extravaganza man himself, Tait Fletcher. How you doing today?
What's up, guys? How you doing?
Doing
Good,
great.
man. Yeah, the beard is something else. Even like everywhere I go, I've been traveling a bunch the last couple weeks, and everywhere, man, dudes are like, "Are you on the Red Sox? Aren't they playing right now?" I don't follow that shit, but I'm pretty sure I'm not.
Yeah, it's funny how like I'm in San Diego, so Charger fans are very fair weather, and I work in a store, and it's really funny on Sundays when you see like whole families come in geared up with all Charger
right?
stuff, and they look at a TV and they see like the Chargers are playing, and they're like, "Oh shit, the Chargers are playing today?" It's like, "Oh, great big fans you are of this team."
Awesome.
From your
I used to get so bummed out when I was a kid. I was never into sports. I played hockey since I was 3 years old, but like other than that, I tried to watch football once, I think in the 7th grade, and I was like, this seems really lame, and I just never got into it. I really wanted to. I wanted to be inspired by it, but there was nothing there for me. But I had a buddy of mine, and he was so into the Michigan State Spartans. Like, that was his shit. His whole family went to U of M, though. They were all Michigan fans. And then when he was like, and he was down, and I was like, dude, he's against his whole family, and like he's doing his shit. I'm like, right on, you know? And then there came a time when he was like, no, I'm from Michigan now. I'm like, how does that happen? And then I started learning about teams, and I was like, these guys that played over here, now they're over there, and you're pretending to have some kind of loyalty. I'm like, this is all Fugazi bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, none of them have any integrity. I was like, I can't get behind any of it.
Yeah.
But then you see the fans, and they're stupid crazy. Like, they're wildly crazy about it.
Yeah.
So it's a weird thing, the fanaticism that goes on with.
Yeah, I'm from Ohio, and I'm in Ohio right now, and the Ohio State-Michigan rivalry and all that that shit is just insane.
Yeah,
and I live an hour away from Michigan, and I live an hour and a half away from Columbus.
Right.
So, like, I'm stuck in the middle. Like, there's a lot of Michigan fans in Northwest Ohio.
Right.
And there's a lot of Ohio State fans. So it gets heated. But you said you played hockey growing up. Where'd you play hockey out of?
I grew up, I just was in Michigan, actually. I left yesterday. I grew up in Alpena, right on the shore of Lake Huron, and so, I mean, we just grew up skating on the lake, and we had outdoor rinks all over the place, and the only people that skated more than us were the Canadians, really. They're year-round, you know? But so I played in a travel league up until I was 12 or something like that, I guess. And
I did the same thing, man. I'm from Northwest Ohio, and I played AAA I played for Team Toledo.
Rad.
Which was in the Michigan National League, and then playing against CompuWare and Little Caesars and all those teams. Like, that's what I grew up doing.
So you're pretty goddamn good.
Oh, I was when I was a kid.
Back in the day.
Yeah, back in the days.
No, were those all those sub teams that were like the teams that but then those guys are wanting to go to the Red Wings or they're like farm leagues, like they're like a B team kind of?
Well, it was considered AAA growing up, but 2 years after I quit, you would have been able to go into junior teams, which were you wouldn't even be playing on your high school team. You'd be playing for a junior team.
Right.
And then you would get drafted out of that.
Okay.
Because in hockey, you can draft before you go to college.
Isn't that crazy? I know a bunch of my friends did that, and they played in those smaller leagues that like were farm leagues for the Red Wings, and fucking brutal.
Oh,
brutal.
Playing growing up playing AAA and stuff. Like I got to play against Team Russia once.
Rad.
That's cool.
Which was crazy. Like growing up because you always heard about the U.S. Russian. Oh Jesus, they destroyed it. Like
this is the thing. Yeah.
They took all the best kids from Russia and flew them to America, and then we're playing the best kids from pretty much Northwest Ohio.
Yeah, awesome. They're fuck the Cold War.
Oh yeah. It was crazy. They all had the weird Russian hats, like the fur hats and shit. Like it was.
That's what I always thought about the goddamn Olympics. When you looked at the Russians and you're like, they've all got like Adidas skates and shit, and it's like, oh yeah, they're all state sponsored or whatever. I'm like, how is that not professional? Like we don't get those same rules here. But like if you're in Hungary or you're in China or you're in Russia, it's like if you're a certain size demographic, this guy's a weightlifter, this guy's a runner, this guy's a hockey. Like they fucking those they
breed that shit.
Crazy.
Yeah, they bring you up. Their whole government is like a league. Like they're picking people out of every school. They're like, we want you and you and you.
Yeah, that's why you look at
the Canadians too are badass, man. Those guys. Oh, yeah. I never really knew. We did all right, and there's some teams that did all right, but we got they mercied us at the end of the first period in Sault Ste. Marie one year. We played one of their travel teams, and I think they scored, I don't know if it was 22 or 28 goals, something to where they're like, you're not coming back from this. They just smoked us. It was amazing. Like the kind of, like if you up the ante, and it made me think like Malcolm Gladwell wrote a book about that when he wrote Outliers, and there's a beginning chapter where he talks about taking the best of and putting them in the most advantageous place where they can become even better. And it's like it really turns up the heat on those kids. And they were fucking badass. They were a great representation of that. Those are the best players in North America for sure. I mean, no offense to Ohio.
No. Hey, man, all the Canada teams that we played, like, I mean, we could beat Windsor every once in a while, but Windsor is essentially Detroit's.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and you
East Detroit with less hookers.
And if you compare that logic to like other sports like surfing, clearly you're not going to get a whole lot of Canadian surfers. Right. You're getting a lot of people from Hawaii, Australia, a lot of places where it's warm and you can go in the water.
Yeah.
So some of that's just geographical. So when did you
get in? The other thing I was heartbroken about as a kid, I'm like, how the fuck does Phoenix have a hockey team? That's not right.
Yeah.
Or when the Kings came, I was like, that's out of order. I don't like that at all.
Yeah.
It just seemed unnatural to me.
Yeah.
Well, Ohio just finally got a hockey team in like 8 years ago with the Blue Jackets. And everyone had already picked their teams, at least that I knew. You're either a Red Wings fan, you're a Blackhawks fan, or you're a Penguins fan if you come from here. And so I'm a Penguins fan, and most everyone else I know is either Red Wings or Blackhawks.
Right. And you might fight depending on where you are.
That's what I love so much about hockey is that's the last sport that no one's really tried to pussify. Everything else, like football, you can't hit anyone hard anymore because it's always a fine.
What they ought to do with that is they ought to lose all the pads.
Yeah.
Like, you know what, though?
Lose those pads and let them go at it,
I don't think
they're trying to mitigate injury, right? With all that, they're saying, well, because there's a lot of news around it. Not that anybody gives a fuck about human life, but there's a bunch of news around it. So they're going, oh, we want to lessen injury on this regard, but they don't really. They just don't want anybody to talk about it.
Yeah,
and like if you went back to leather helmets and shit, that would take care of all that shit. Because
those dudes that were wearing leather helmets, though, they were 1940s. Sized guys.
Yeah.
And the guys today are so much bigger.
Sure, but if you put leather helmets on those guys and they're not going to feel safe and indestructible running at another human, they're going to be a little more careful.
It's like somebody in an SUV versus somebody on a motorcycle. You're a lot more aware when you're on a motorcycle because you can be run the fuck over by some idiot in an SUV.
It's like you can look at the testing right now with rugby versus football.
Yeah.
Like those guys have fuck all on. They get their faces cut and whatever, but they're not brain damaged,
Yeah, because they're not plowing into each other at full speed. Where they know it's like I don't have any protection. It's like I'm pretty sure it's gonna hurt if I run into another person.
Yeah, I just came off a job and there's a dude he played for. Is it Jacksonville in Florida?
Yeah.
Is that a football team?
There's a couple in Florida, but Jacksonville's one of them.
I think that was one of them. I think that's who he played for. He was a stunt dude, a great big Samoan dude. And there was like me and these two huge Samoans. And I was like, they're talking football. And I was like, is that even really a sport? I mean, you guys go for 3 or 6 seconds of activity and then you rest for 2 minutes and then do the next play. I mean, And they're so offended. They're like, you want to try it? And they're huge dudes. And you think about the kind of like what that 3 seconds is, though. When I really sat back and I was like, God damn, that's some expenditure of horsepower for those seconds that happen. Like it's a whole different deal, man. It's neat to look at. I'd like to learn more about it.
Yeah. I played football growing up too, and like I guess between football and hockey was rougher altogether. But I mean, even in hockey, you're only out there a minute, and then you might sit 2 minutes.
But your speed is getting up, and you have a weapon. You got the butt of your stick, and you got
that's what we have knives on your fucking feet.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like did you ever mess around with lacrosse?
No, we didn't have lacrosse around here.
We just either, man. I always thought that it looked like hockey in the air, you know?
Yeah, I always wanted to play. Yeah, the rich kids. Like I was from. I'm an hour south of Toledo, so even when I was playing for them, like I didn't have any friends. Those kids were all from around there, but they were all rich kids, and I was.
It's a whole less. It's like horse racing or something. It's like
I was less than. Yeah, hockey's so expensive. Yeah. Like new equipment, it's like $1,000 for a full new set, and when you're a kid, you grow out of your shit once every 3 years.
The only way that I don't know how they do it there, but back home we'd have sales like a month before the season started, and it would just be. I mean, you'd have. Brian Stibbets would have somebody's that was a hero 4 years before that was his might stuff. You know what I mean? It's like we just passed that shit down. There might have been 60 sets of uniforms that everybody in the whole town wore, you know?
Yeah. Like I said, my parents didn't have that much money, so it was like other rich parents, like they gave us shit because they knew we were kind of poor, and they were like, my kid's bigger than your kid, and he can't fit in this anymore. Here you go. Right. So I'd get all the like pimp shit from 3 years ago from rich kids.
Yeah,
that was the thing too when the crossover came from like old school pads to like then they had Cooperalls and they had like all the different kind of pads underneath.
Oh man, with the chest plates and
it's all different. I was like, oh my god, shit's changed.
I rocked the cloth shoulder pads for I don't know how many years. Yeah. Like a couple years past when no one else wore them just because they're lighter and you could get. Those bulky ones were hard to move.
And you get used to your movement,
Yeah.
It's cool, man.
So when did you get into MMA?
Oh, when was it? 90, well, like 99, end of 99 or something. I did my first, what did I do first? I first started fighting with a group called the Dog Brothers. I met this guy in New Mexico, named Arlen Sanford, and Arlen was a founding member of a group called the Dog Brothers. And the Dog Brothers are their motto is higher consciousness through harder contact. And we fought with no armor, with sticks, and they wanted to see, he and this other fella, Eric Knaus, they call themselves Top Dog and Salty Dog, respectively. They were two of the founding members, and they go, well, we want to see the efficacy of our sport, see what's real, because everybody says, oh, if you get hit with a stick, you'll die, and this and that, da da da. So they fought without any pads for a little while, and they found out what that was, and then there was things called the gathering on the equinoxes, on the summer and fall equinox that we would go and have a gathering in Hermosa Beach. We'd circle up in a park, and there'd be 20 or 30 guys, usually like 15 to 20, I guess, and there'd be like 300 bystanders, and they'd all set up chairs all around the exterior of the park, and then it'd be like going to a high school dance, going, hey, you want to fight next? And then they'd be like, oh yeah, it was just like asking somebody to dance or something. Crazy. It was a trip, and so those were the first things that I did, but. So, I learned about range of fights and what that was. And the first thing is with a weapon, of course, and of course a gun trumps whatever. But with a stick, you're at a certain distance. With kicks, you're at a certain distance. With just boxing, you're at a certain distance. Then elbows and knees, and then you're grappling,
Yeah.
So what we found is that if shit got too hot with a stick, a lot of dudes, what do? You can either run away or you can close the distance.
Yeah.
So dudes would close the distance, and then you're grappling. And then we found there were some guys that were training with like Jean-Jacques Machado and Higgin Machado. And a couple of those guys, it was just like, it's just like that saying, man. I love that saying is that, the ground is my water, and I'm a shark, and you don't even know how to swim. And like if you don't know jiu-jitsu, and like that is what it's like, man. You are a child in somebody's hands. And that's what guys found out through these stick fights that would go to the ground. So then I started jiu-jitsu, and then I did my first jiu-jitsu tournament. end of '99, I guess maybe.
Okay.
I went against, and there weren't a lot of guys doing it, so we went up to Denver, and the last guy in my key, I think I fought 3 or 4 guys that day. And the last guy, he was a black belt in judo, fucking huge dude, like 280 pounds. He threw the shit out of me. And then I think he Kimura'd me or he Americana something. He finished me, though. He stacked me up, dislocated some ribs. And it was awesome, man. It was rad. And then the next time I fought was maybe 6 months later or 8 months later. And I just trained every day, all the time, twice a day. I just fell in love with jiu-jitsu. And then I started competing there. And then I saw how small the world was there. I fought at a Hickson Gracie International tournament, and Nino Chambry was there, and Poquinho, and I saw Hawks and Gracie and his brother Crone. Crone was 6 or 8 years old at the time. Now he just went and smashed everybody at Abu Dhabi. Did really great, And Hickson was there running it, and I took gold in my weight and gold in my in the open division, and then the next year I went to Rio, I guess, the next year, the year after, and we went and fought in the Worlds down there. And we were walking around. We went to this DNC type store, and my friends are walking around, and they go in the back, and they're looking at a bulletin board, and they're like, "Hey, there's a picture of you back here, Tait." And I was up at the front of the store talking to whoever was up front, and I was like, and I figured there's a picture of a gorilla or something up there. They're fucking with me, right? And I go back, and there's a picture of me and my arm around this dude, and it's the guy that owns the store.
Oh,
and
wow.
he was a dude that I choked out in the Open at that tournament a couple of years before, and I was like, "Fuck, man!" And so, jiu-jitsu really became at that point. I was like, "This is a small little world, man."
Like a family,
and so I'd stopped stick fighting for a bit. I would still fight at night. I ran a club. I ran security at a club, and so me and some other bouncers, like Isaac Valley Flag. He's another guy that's he's signed with the UFC right now. But we came up out of Michigan together. Isaac's from Ypsilanti, and we met there in the early '90s, and then we're both Jackson's fighters for a long time. But Isaac and I lived together, and so we would fight in the backyard. We would fight, I don't know, 4 or 5 times a day, and then at night we'd get other bouncers go, "Oh yeah, you're a tough guy." Right on, we brought sticks, and so
Fucking
the bartenders would be
club.
closing out the bar, and we'd be on this huge fucking dance floor, maybe 3,000 square foot dance floor.
Oh, wow.
Underneath a huge, maybe, I don't know if it was 6 feet in diameter, a huge disco ball, and all these fucking lights. And we would fight. And we'd fight at 3, 4 in the morning. And it was rad, dude. It was awesome.
Now, did you guys have rules like you couldn't talk about stick fighting? The second rule is you can't talk about
say whatever you want, but you better be able to hold your mud. You know what I mean? You better be able to stand with it.
So what is it that draws somebody to stick fighting? What was the
for me,
pitch?
It was I saw a lot of guys that were, it's the same way now. You see, it's nice jiu-jitsu.
Uh-oh.
Oh, you knocked your mic out, Tait.
Uh-oh. Oh, boy. Okay,
Tait, your mic's off.
Can you signal to him in some way? Oh, we lost him. We
Oh,
lost Tait.
shit.
There's the Salvador Dali mustache, though, for those watching.
Hey.
Tait, you there?
All right, you're back.
Yeah,
All right,
I don't know
cool.
what happened.
Yeah, we lost you right when you were explaining how the
All
path for those that would want to.
Yeah, so anyway, I saw all these guys, and they were all karate guys or Aikido or whatever, and I thought, man, a tough wrestler would come in and fuck you guys up. These guys are, and then they talk all that. That's I would show you, but I'd have to kill you type shit, right?
Yeah.
And,
My hands are registered.
yeah, and
lethal
so
weapons.
with jiu-jitsu, it's cool, we can find out in about 2 minutes on the ground right now.
Yeah.
Are you a black belt? Let's see, And so that was cool, and Arlen Sanford was the first guy that was a real bad motherfucker that I met. I got to train with him a couple weeks ago, and it was awesome, man. But he's it was he was real, and he was real kind, and he was real gracious, and he was he's a gentle gentleman with arms like 4x4s and a big smile all the time, and he just showed me a lot about being a man, about what that was like, and a spirit of helpfulness. And the Dog Brothers embodied that in a lot of ways too. It was a real fraternity in a way that it was the first time guys started speaking to the idea that the better you get, the better I get.
Yeah.
And whereas I'd come from a place where it's I'm kind of, my back's on the wall, and I don't need you to be better. I need to be able to smash you. Is kind of how I felt about things. And those guys spoke to the thing this is a tribe. and the weakest tribe member, the stronger you make him, the stronger the whole tribe gets. Yeah. And then I really translated that into jiu-jitsu in a lot of ways, and that became a real mantra of mine, that if I keep you in a place where I smash you every time, and I set up and I triangle you the same way, and I never teach you how to do that or how to defend it or what I'm doing, you never get better. So I keep you as static as I can.
Yeah.
But then I never get better because I never have to find another route.
Yeah.
And so I become complacent. And then the worst part about that is I believe in scarcity then. I'm training myself to believe in scarcity, that there's not another way, that there's not something that's more powerful, and there's not an ever expansion of the art. And there is, unless I believe there's not. And then I just stay stuck. And so the more that I got you better, the better I'd get. And so all that grew. And so, like, I don't know. And everybody fights for different reasons. People are like, how's a guy get into stick fighting? I got there because it was the first guy that was in martial arts that I respected.
For sure.
You know, and I was a kid that came out of the street, and I was like, this is a great, and he was kind to me, you know. I mean,
yeah.
and there's nobody that was really looking to be super kind to me at that time. And then, you know, when I started jiu-jitsu, that was a fantastic journey for me. And I helped the guy that started a school in Santa Fe there, and we built up the school together. And then I met Greg Jackson, and then, you know, we just kept rolling from there, and I just kept trying to get better and better and go, what's the best representation of Tait Fletcher that I can be to the world? You know, like, how do I form this into being a better unit? And
yeah.
So I just kept looking for guys that were way better than me, easy to find, a lot of guys way better than me, and I opened myself up to the experiments with them.
Yeah.
And
it's
and
like,
then I got a fight a few years later.
Yeah.
Like, maybe, I guess I was a purple belt. I think I just medaled in the Pan Ams in my weight and in the open again. And then I stopped fighting in the gi. I didn't train in the gi again. I went to Eddie Bravo's, became full on in 10th Planet, and was one of the guys that was at the forefront of that for a while. Like me and Scotty Epstein. This is Scotty's, actually. We call him Einstein, but isn't that a great logo?
Fuck yeah.
But it's not because Scotty's smart, you guys.
Allegedly.
But anyways, yeah, man. I started doing that, and
well, that idea of, like, you know, the whole, you know, you guys grow together, you know, you want difficult opponents because you know, you both learn from it. It's kind of like that business idea of, like, to be successful, you're surrounded by successful people,
right,
but applied to, you know, a passion of another sort, instead of, like, growing a business or, you know, making this invisible thing they call money. It's like you're growing this passion of skill in whatever it is, and the only way by doing that is by people coming together and learning from each other, and then by that they all lift themselves up. You know.
Yeah, there's either complacency or there's drive, right?
Yeah.
Ever since I was little, I wanted retirement.
Yeah.
I want to be able to just kick back and fucking. I don't want to try very hard. I want to shoot a shot of dope that's just enough to maybe not kill me. I'm not adverse to that either.
Yeah.
But I just want the love and heart to be working, and that's it. And I just want to be there.
Yeah.
And just sit on the couch. And at my default, like, that's kind of who I am. Like that, and life kills me without other people driving me. It just does, man. I'm not fit for it. But so I try to surround myself with those people that keep me to strive, because the other way is I'm in reverse, man. And one of my mentors a while ago, she told me, she was like, if you don't hang out with people, or if you don't date people that are like your financial, your emotional, your intellectual, your sexual equals, like, if you're not on some playing field that is even with all that stuff, you're never going to be happy or satisfied, and you're never going to be pushed. If you're the smartest guy in the room, you're never getting smarter, Tate. Like, you got to put. And so it's like, early on for me, like starting 20 years ago, really was a course for me, a path when my only goal was the ego deflation. Like, how do I get into a place where I can get to where I'm teachable? You know,
how old were you?
Accessibility is teachability.
How old were you when that?
To be that, you know.
How old were you when you started, like,
about 21?
Okay, that's pretty young.
I didn't start fighting or competing. Like, the first time I took jiu-jitsu, I think I was 27.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah. So with competition, did it just, what happened with that? Because you had a few fights.
I fought a bunch in New Mexico, mm-hmm. and then I moved on a movie. I moved to LA, and then that was when the WEC wasn't yet absorbed by the UFC yet,
uh-huh.
and fought for them, and then I fought in their light heavyweight tournament there, and then I got into the Ultimate Fighter after that. And then I fought, I guess, 3 times, I think, after that. But when I was on that show, I remember sitting there one time, and Dana White was talking about it. He was going, I wanted to be a professional boxer when I was in Boston, and I'd go to the gym and I'd see these guys, and I'd look down the road and I'd see, God, that's you. There's all these guys trying, and there's these guys that make it, and even the guys that make it, what kind of loss have they experienced to get to where they are? Yeah. And he goes, and he says, and I got shook, and I wanted to have something beyond that, and so it stuck with me. I sat and I thought about that for a couple of days, and it was before I'd fought Josh Haynes, I guess, and. I started, and you're in that fucking house, and there's nothing. You're just thinking,
Yeah.
And
how bad is that really? I mean,
it's whatever. I mean, it's like,
is it? However, the other people are in there, it really dictates the feel of the.
I would say
seclusion.
I would say that I would have to err on the side of saying there's no victims in life. Yeah. And that you make whatever the experience is. I talked to Bisping. He retweeted this a little while ago. He goes, God, I just don't know. And if this happens and that happens and whatever. And I go, Michael, I feel like that we're all given the same ingredients here, man. We're all invited to this party.
Yeah. And
what we make of it is up to us. You know what I mean? At that point, and he's he's like fucking made a lot of it. He's really fucking. It's been exciting to watch where he's gone with it. And but what I thought was that at my age and where I am and what am I doing and where are my passions and what are my real goals? What have my goals been? Because when I started fighting, it's the same as like maybe Diego was different, but like I think Keith and myself and there's a few guys that it was like. It didn't seem realistic to be able to go to Pride or to be able to do something like that at that time. So we're just trying to find out more about ourselves and trying to compete and see like what kind of our art can we express fully the way we want to. It was a real self-expression kind of thing. And then boom, all the lights got turned on, by UFC #1 or the Tough Show #1.
Yeah.
And with that, I just anyway, long story short, I just started looking at going in 10 years down the road, what does this look like?
Yeah.
What does it look like? And I'd seen guys that had strokes when they were fucking 32 years old from fucking brain damage, man. It's not like there's a 32-year-old athlete that's just getting a stroke. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, and I started seeing things like that and putting that together, and I'm going, you got to be more than this because there's an end date in here, and at what point are you going to mitigate your losses to increase your benefits to move into your next life? Who are you going to be now? Yeah. And it's a hard discussion to have. It's like, even when Chuck Liddell came out to my gym in New Mexico for a little while, and it was at the time, and I think Shogun had just knocked him out, and he was like, Dan is pushing me to quit. He wants me to stop, and I can't I don't want to back off the money, and I've got people, I've got babies, mamas, I got this and that, and it's a trap, man, because it's kind of like it becomes, who are you now? Yeah. Like if this is the only way I can make money, then then what that is not a freedom of expression that I'm out there looking for my life. I've become a slave by my own passion. And so it's important, I think, for me to contemplate who I am as a man and go, where do I want to proactively move to in my life instead of letting life happen to me? Yeah. And so that it became a conversation of that. And so I was like, I've got to look into who I want to be and who I would look up to in 5 years from now and be that dude right now. Yeah. And so that's kind of been, I don't know. That's been what it's been. That's been how my life has been for a little bit. And
so when you were going over that, what path, like what was the new direction that you took?
I didn't know. I remember I was sitting with Eddie Bravo, Joe Rogan, Ari Shaffir. We're at the Standard in hotel at dinner, like 4 a.m. And somebody came up and they're like, and I was just contemplating like maybe I'm not gonna fight anymore. I don't know. And Eddie's really into music, and so and he'd carry these CDs around with him and he'd hand them to whoever, we'd see Tricky or some producer or something. He's like, fuck yeah, I got my CDs right here. It's dope, but and he's a wicked. I don't know. You guys know who Eddie Bravo is?
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
He's pretty good at jiu-jitsu. He's got the best
just a little bit,
in the world. Like he's got shit that the best in the world, in the world.
Yeah.
And And the guy comes up and he goes, "Oh, well, what do you guys do?" And he goes, "Oh, I'm a musician." And Joe goes, "I'm a comedian." And Ari's like, "I'm a comedian." And I'm like, and I felt like fake going, "I'm a fighter," because I was like, that wasn't where my heart was at that time.
Yeah.
And it had been that way for 10 years, where like that's where my heart was. And I go, "Fucking, who are you now?" And it was like when I left Santa Fe to come to LA, and it's like you're alone. You got no money. You got no respect around you. Like, people don't know who the fuck you are.
Yeah.
So anything you built up, it's like you're taking that, but like, who are you now? Like, who are you underneath all the money, underneath whoever your girlfriend is, underneath the job, underneath whatever? Like, who are you? And most dudes run from that fucking question.
Yeah.
Most dudes go, "I'd rather just do a hot shot of dope, sit to where my just lungs and heart are working, and smoke a cigarette on the couch."
Yeah.
That's what I want. I want retirement.
Easy.
And it's like there's those of us that can't avoid the question.
Yeah.
And so that became
Ray and I are both really going through that right now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, for sure. Keith just started stand up about a year ago, year and a half ago, something like that. I stepped down from my full-time job that I've been at for like a decade to start.
What was that?
I still work there, but I sell electronics. But I'm getting back into art, so I'm doing art shows and things like that. So it's
Rad.
For me, it's a big transition. For Keith, it's a big transition. So this stuff, what you're saying, is definitely resonating.
Yeah. I went from being a factory worker for 8 years, where I was doing like engineer type work and programming machines and doing
job, man.
CAD shit and making good money.
Yep.
And
insurance and everything.
Good
right?
insurance, good pay, and I got fired for some hearsay. Like, I said something to someone else.
An intern. It's okay. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Keith
pretty
does
much.
that.
And
Yep.
although I will say, I brag about this. I'm the only person who's got promoted and fired in the same day that I know of. I got promoted from the factory floor to the front office, and then fired later that day for some shit that I said the day before jokingly to someone else.
Right.
And they tricked me. They were like, "Did you say this to so-and-so?" And I was like, "Yeah, I said that because it wasn't that bad." Right. And they were like, "Oh, well, we told you not to say anything derogatory, so we're going to have to let you go." And I was like, "I just got promoted."
Yeah.
And they were like,
just
So
kidding.
would you have quit that job?
I was planning on quitting that job, and it was the best thing that's ever happened to me in my life because I hated working there. And the only thing that would have been a step up was getting to the front office, but I would have hated it in there too because they were even more stuffy.
That's the thing I always look at. I go, whatever I'm working at, look at the person that's in the highest position available. Would you like that dude's life? Like, how's that guy's life look? And then make your decision from there boldly, you know?
But for me, like, what was most important, like, and has been to me my entire life, and it's weird to say this, but what makes me the happiest in whatever I'm doing is if I make someone laugh. I've always loved even if it's just acting like a douchebag just to fucking get a laugh or any cheap trick, so I just like making people laugh. And then, I'd always been a fan of stand-up and watching Rogan's podcast and shit like that. And it inspired me to, really go for what I wanted to do.
A lot. I mean, I don't know. I say a lot. Like, a lot of times, stuff that I was just like, "Oh, that was unfortunate," or "That was just poor luck," ended up being the best thing. It's like we have this scope that we're looking at life through, especially when tragedy or something comes. Like, I'm super good in crisis. I'm good there, but the problem is that you don't have a broad perspective, and so all that stuff, that hindsight, that trying to go, okay, I want to go here in my life. It's good to have a goal and a place, but I got to stay loose to where when the next thing comes up, I can go towards that. I've never really met like the goal, but like something else comes up and I go, I just want to look to be helpful and useful wherever I am. And great things come out of that, man.
Yeah.
That's been the biggest thing because, you got to have a guidepost. And like when I use that as my guidepost, my life turns out famously.
Yeah.
But when I don't, I feel like alone and like fucking I need to get something you got or you want to take what I've got and there's never enough and that's all bullshit. That's all just illusion,
Yeah. Yeah, it's the one of the things is with the goals is you have to treat the only thing you can control in life is yourself. Everything else, your goals, your plans, your wishes are all like ideas that you'd like to accomplish, but a lot of other factors in the universe have to, fall into place for that exact thing to happen. So being able to stay, loose to where, like you said, to be able to shift and change and kind of maybe change your goals or augment your goals depending on the universe or depending on maybe your decision of what your end goal, your vision of your goal would be changes. You have to be able to move with that. Yeah. So, and it's difficult, man. I mean, for me, I'm in a position where I stepped down like 6 months ago, and the only reason I was able to do that is because I have a roommate, and I live in a condo that I own and I pay a mortgage on. So it's like he's moving out right now. So now it's like, what do I do? Do I find another roommate? And
you get a couple strippers to come in.
I could do that. That's definitely a good idea. I should look into that. Or do I sell the place
somewhere? I'm sure.
Yeah, for sure. Craigslist. I might actually. That might be the next. That was a very simple answer. Now I don't even have to worry about it.
I said that last time, and you were like, "I don't want anyone real rapey coming in." But when Tait Fletcher says it,
clearly, if you could grow facial hair, Keith, then I might listen to you.
The beard promotes wisdom. You look like a wizard.
He does.
It's like fucking Gandalf tells you some shit. You're like,
I went to church last week or a couple weeks ago, I guess, and and then we went to the service for the funeral afterwards in this whole other hall. All the pictures are a bunch of dudes with big, thick beards. I'm like everybody here, and then they all kind of was like made in the late 70s. They all look kind of like Andy Gibb or Kenny Loggins or something too. It was Ryad.
Yeah.
But beards, they're timeless, sir.
For sure.
You look at any great statues.
Yep.
Find a picture of Poseidon. He's not clean shaven.
You're making me feel kind of shitty about my whole life here. I'm gonna be 33, and this is 3 days no shaven.
33 is an important age in a man's life because that's, of course, when Jesus got finished, right? Sure. And so it could be like a rebirth for you.
There you go. Maybe you'll start growing hair or be funnier. I don't know.
Well, growing up Catholic, that learning that whole story when I was a kid, 33 seems like a shitty age to me.
You never know.
Yeah. That's when shit might go all downhill for your life.
It might have been horrible for him the whole time.
Yeah.
I mean, he had all those years, the dark years, from when he was like 12 until he was 30. We don't even know if he existed in that time.
We don't even know if he actually existed at all, really.
Yeah.
He's written about by a lot of dudes.
Yeah, I
have a different idea of who he might have been.
Through the years, like I'm not religious now. I grew up Catholic, went to Catholic school and everything, but I love religion. Like, if there's a documentary on any type of
rituals and stuff of it too, I think it's cool just to see what people do. Like, people love ritual. They love ritual, and they love an idea that they really know what's going on, even if it's a mystery.
Yeah.
People love teams.
And they love teams.
Yeah.
People that's why do you think politics is so big? Why do you think sports are so big? People love to get behind a team and be like, this is what I'm about. And it's easily, that's all politics is that I'm on this team. No, I'm on this team.
Yeah.
Yep. They're indistinguishable at this point. But people like to say they're on the team.
Why would you? That's why I'm even with politics anymore. It's like I think I'm treating politics like I do religion. It's like I'm not on anyone's team. I'm just gonna try to be nice. And
I just left a buddy of mine. He's Catholic, and he went to, man, y'all got the worst shit. That catechism, we have to go all like.
Because I went to Catholic school, I didn't have to go to catechism. Okay. That's for kids that don't go to Catholic school.
Boy, it was awful. He went every day for or not every day, but every week, I think twice a week for 2 hours a night. And he went for 4 years. It's like going to fucking a college course or something. Awful to hear about a fairy tale. Crazy. Yeah. And he was like, I don't know, it makes my mom happy, fucking whatever. You know what I mean? He believes like that, which I think is kind of the most way that most of those people, it's like the Chargers, the one you're talking about in San Diego, that they're like, oh, they're playing today, I'm really down for them, or what, it's the same shit.
Well, that was what I preached.
Nobody thinks that it's weird that you go and eat Jesus, though. That's crazy.
Yeah,
you're a crazy person.
Oh, you drink his blood. Yeah, you're training to be a cannibal, a Jesus cannibal.
My mom, when I told my mom, I didn't believe. When I told my mother I didn't believe anymore, she got upset. She was like, she's the one that sent me to Catholic school.
Right.
She was like, I want my kids to be in heaven with me. And I go, Mom, I'm gonna put it to you this way. you're Catholic because your parents were Catholic and you got brought up Catholic. And I go, look at it from this point of view. If you would have been born Jewish, would you have grown up being born Jewish and went through all those rituals, but at one point in your life realized that Christianity was the only way to actually get into heaven, and left your Jewish faith and joined the Christian religion?
Yes.
And she goes, no, I'd probably still be Jewish. And
you know
I
when
go,
that would have happened? Because it's like whatever the strongest man is in their life, then they go, that's my shit too.
Yeah.
Like I've seen, like, I don't know, you go through high school and you're like, boy, that girl's dating a neo-Nazi. That's interesting. And then fucking she's like, yeah, fuck black people and Jews. And then 3 months later, she's dating a hippie and she's like, I can't believe that people are racist. And like, it's like, you know, like there's that whole pull towards the strongest voice. And that's why it's like it's dangerous, like with what kids get exposed to, I think, in that way of like how, like I look at some parents, I'm like, holy fuck, they get to have kids. That's a huge responsibility to get to put ideas and be an example to children, and like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think that's what it is. It's like, that's why when you talk about politics too, it's like, I think in 1980 or whenever Reagan got inducted, we learned that, like they learned that all you have to do is be charismatic and personable, and that's called an actor.
Yeah.
And then we got an actor that came in, like, that's crazy. That's a crazy idea, you know?
And he
like,
was literally an actor too.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, and so then that became like, oh, this will be the job. You will grow up and you'll be a senator. You'll try to go towards this, and it's like, that is a disgusting system.
But then you have, I think it was Rogan's joke where it's like, how stupid can we go? And then they're like, hey, let's get Bush, and because a guy that can't even speak.
Yeah. No, we can't go that dumb.
Yeah, like nobody will ever go for that.
I think we can.
Holy shit! Yeah, yeah. So it's like right when you think it can't go any. I mean, right when you'd think people would figure out that it's a ridiculous thing going on, that it's not.
Yeah, we got duped by this actor, man. Yeah. I did at least the first election. I was like, fucking, I hated Bush, and I'm like, Obama.
Yeah,
I just wanted to vote for a black guy. Personally,
me too.
There was a lot of not so deep reasons why I voted for Obama.
Change a black guy. I wanted to fuck the system up, and then God damn, if it didn't backfire.
Well, but you know,
it's wild to think that he turned out way worse and more evil than Bush could have dreamed about being. Like it was like he's done things that are unconscionable. Which has been a part of it, and I don't know that it's. I say him. I don't want to put it on a guy. It is what it is. You really can't be different than you're a cog in the system.
Yeah.
And this cog behaves this way, and you can't behave other than that. That's just how it is.
He's an employee. He's an employee, and everybody that pays for his campaign are his bosses.
Right.
So it's like not only does he have like a boss, he has many very rich bosses that pretty much fund and control what his next step is career-wise.
You ever see that demographic they have about like here's 85% of the people at this kind of wealth.
Yeah. They're
controlled by these 10% of the people at this kind of wealth. And then there's the 4% of the people that are at this kind of wealth that control those 10% that control those 80. And then there's fucking this percent up here, which is like a 0.1%, which is probably named Rothschild, that fucking controls all of that. Like that's fucking nutty, man.
Yeah,
and that's where it is, you know. It's like it's a weird thing, you know, like I think about the idea of like children and all that, and thinking about like the Gulf and Fukushima or whatever's going on, and I just have this vision of somebody standing at the shore with their kid and them going, hey Dad, what was it like to be able to get in the water?
Yeah.
You know? And it's like, because we're right there where it's unsafe to get into natural waters.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's fucking, like, that doesn't stop anybody. And like we see ducks or geese or whatever getting the oil wiped off of them from the latest slick, but people think like there's a disconnect that we're not them. It's like, no, that's our food, that's our environment. That duck is us in that way. And as much as we are connected to everything, we're killing ourselves in that regard, and we don't even see that. Like, and the thing is that the people that I think are the biggest proponents of that are the people with the greatest wealth. Yeah. To where it doesn't matter if you get wealthier, you're already there's nobody that's vying for the position of richest. You're gonna always be the richest.
Yeah.
What else do you need? It becomes like is it a sick addiction that like they
it
like
seems
to see
evil
or what?
It seems like they're evil people. I mean, if you have all the money to where
it seems like an illness, like a drug addiction.
Yeah, and they're like, God damn it, with this government and this FDA and the Environmental Protection Agency, like what they're ruining jobs.
Let's buy them. Let's buy the FDA. And so now they own the FDA. Now they own the NSA. Like that is their shit.
God, yeah. How scary is it? And with all these new new shit from the Snowden leaks and everything, and I was watching. I sit and watch a lot of
those
bullshit
poor guys, man.
Yeah. But this General Keith Alexander is about the biggest dickbag that I've ever heard talk about.
I'd like to see him and General Wesley Clark fight. Like
he wants his explanation for what we should do about all this shit about the spying on other countries is we should curtail and prosecute any American that leaks it or any journalist that also.
We're already doing that, you know.
Oh yeah, they already tapped the AP and
even Al Jazeera used to be great. Now they're co-opted too. Like RT is about the only news source that's viable now. Really, like that you don't really have to completely delouse and read between the lines. You know, like BBC used to be good. Like it's all fucking. Yeah. It's all advertisement. It's all paid advertising.
That's owned by 3 people anyway.
Yeah, and that's why a lot of these laws are very kind of specific. I mean, they affect everybody, but for journalists, it's really scary because they're going in, finding this information. They're basically trying to do what like Snowden and all these other guys are doing, but from the outside going in. So they're scared as fuck, and you know the people that are in charge of everything, they want to have control over everything, so they end up controlling all these different news organizations and trying to shut down all the people they can't control. And it's just, I think
Obama he's got like 12 lawsuits right now going against investigative journalists, different individuals.
Yeah.
That he wants their sources outed.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. Any way to attack and chip away at the edifice of our Bill of Rights and our Constitution it's wild, man.
Yeah.
But I mean, man, this Patriot Act shit, they've jumped on this horse and they're beating a dead horse to death again.
I wish it was only the Patriot Act. I wish it stopped there.
But you know what I'm saying? They keep expanding on it.
It's like this has turned into a frightening position for.
They're like we had a secret court interpret what it said in the Patriot Act, and they said that we could also use this.
I think they saw really how apathetic we all are when Bush won against Gore, right? When that election happened and the Supreme Court appointed a king to America.
Yeah.
Like I feel like that was that they go, oh, these fucking people, they don't know anything. And it reminded me of a book. It's not Michael Mann. God, he wrote a book about the Constitution, and he goes, you know, if you don't know what the Constitution says, it doesn't belong to you.
Yeah,
it's nothing to you because it doesn't exist, and nobody's going to stand up for your rights for you, and then the only people that really are doing that are groups like, you know, like even PETA or like or the NRA or the ACLU or things like that. Like all those groups are then subject to infighting and attacks from each other and other groups, and it's like, but they're the only ones that are really, I mean, regardless of what your politics are with whoever, but they're all looking to get vilified by somebody else. It's like how we changed the name liberal to mean this or conservative to mean that, and like you said, it's like a team now, and
rebranding.
It's like, man, it doesn't. You're redefining words and ideas, and it's like that's not what that means, you know?
Yeah, it's all. Yeah, they're all just trying to find ways, neat little ways, just like a business would. You know, when Walmart got in a bunch of shit like forever ago,
right?
Next thing you know, they have a brand new look to they didn't change their name. Or when the fucking oil spills happened, it went from whatever the fuck they were to BP. Or no, it went from BP. They changed their name too. It's like a lot of these companies.
And then they started a whole thing that their whole advertising campaign.
Oh, yeah.
How they're helping the Gulf and all that. I was in Louisiana to see a lot of that, and holy fuck, man! I was like, wow, you guys, like, the spin doctor is that that's the most creative gentleman that walks the planet. Like,
Yeah.
those guys are amazingly good.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, you could go ahead and have your house burnt down, and they're like, arsonists are here to help you.
Yeah.
I mean, they're fucking wild good.
Yeah, they'll show a documentary on how
the money of the arsonist fund. They sound like good guys to me.
Yeah, the arsonist support fund is, they'll show a documentary on how the Mayans used to slash and burn fields and how it used to be beneficial. So it's like, this is the modern day slash and burn. We're re-injuvenating the soil with the ashes of your home.
You want a job at Kmart? Come on, we're offering jobs.
Yeah. It's
so that's the thing too, is like, so, I used to feel we can talk on hopelessness all day long. You know what I mean? It's like because there's a bunch of it, and it seems like there's futility, and it seems like there's no empowerment anywhere. It's like, well, what do? We talk, we bitch, we this, that. Like, I remember Corrosion of Conformity back in, like, I don't know, the 90s or something. They had a great song out called "Vote with a Bullet," and it that seemed right to me at that time. I was like, these motherfuckers, you know what I mean? And because I already, you could already see. I already saw that it was a fucked system then. Like, I knew, and where we've gone has been amazing. But the thing is like, where can you vote? Where can you make a difference? When, like, I voted up until this last election. I don't know that I'll vote again. I might. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know that I agree completely with, like, Russell Brand just had a great rant.
I was gonna say, had you seen that? But
and like, he's not a disempowered guy. Yeah. He's got super interesting views, but I kind of believe, like, in the last year, that if I vote outside any higher than, like, maybe my state governor, maybe even that's too late, but I should be responsible to know who my city councilors are, school board, things like that. Yeah. That shit matters.
Yeah.
To some degree, because it's so small, it's minuscule amounts of money, so nobody's really co-opting those people yet. But on higher levels, there's just checks written. Like, people that are like, oh, we need a 3-party system. I'm like, you're so far behind that you don't even realize that they have a third check for that person too. It's like there's endless checks for whoever gets. You could have a 40-party system.
When you pay both sides,
an easy person. You need somebody that won't take a check.
Yeah.
The giant corporations pay both people. They cut $1 million check for him and $1 million check for him. So that's the thing, is like, you got these giant corporations that pay all those people, and so, like, the last year or so, I mean, like, it's cool though. When you guys started this podcast just now with me, you go and you introduced me. You go, here's Tait Fletcher, and he's on one of the best shows ever on television and all that shit. And I was with me and Keith Jardine. We were training partners for a long time, and we've been friends for years. And we were on a movie this summer together.
Nice.
And he goes, won't it be great when, instead of people identifying as a fighter, that they come up and they go, you're on set somewhere, and they go, man, somebody was saying that you used to fight.
Yeah.
And, like, that's a secondary thing. And that's what I meant about that talk that when I'm looking and Eddie's going, oh, I'm a musician. Joe's like, I'm a comedian, and I'm like, who are you now that you're not a fighter? You're choosing to not be a fighter. Who are you now? And, like, that kind of thing of getting into that position and going, I want to go boldly into these other places. And it's like, I've been known as a lot of things in my life, and I've been fucking great at all of them. Yeah. Like, I've had a chance to be able to express myself at high levels in all of those things, and it's been fantastic. And I don't say that, like, in a grandiose way. I'm as shocked as anybody, and I just feel real appreciative to be there. But I show up and I try, regardless of how scary it is. And then I look at this situation globally and I go, well, what's happening? Is our money, like they say, that we're going to be completely devalued by 2016, that after the next election, that the U.S. dollar will become a flat line. And people are like, we got to buy gold, and gold is this, and all these things are going on. It's madness, but it's always been madness.
Yeah.
And so my point is this, is like, how do I stay empowered in a place like that? How do I stay empowered, like, with who are you now? It's just a bigger question. The microcosm mimics the macrocosm. It's all the same shit.
Yeah.
And I go, you got to be empowered in what your power is. If that's money right now, like, I was on a plane last night. I was like, man, if I took out $30,000 and there was a seat in between us, me and the person next to me, and I just started counting hundreds on the seat, people would look. And people would what? What would happen if they just saw, like, 20, 30 grand? They see this big gorilla just fucking counting money out on a seat in a public place on a steel tube flying through the air. The stewardesses would look and shit. It wouldn't go unnoticed.
Yeah.
And some people would get scared.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
How did he make that money? Why is he carrying
powerful.
around that much cash? Yeah.
That's powerful.
That's a crazy
Looks like
beard.
power.
I don't want to get next to him.
I bet you that somebody would meet me when I got off the plane and talk to me about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and so if that money is power in that way, just 30 grand, then what would it be like if I fucking paid attention to where every dollar went? And if I fed into my community, everybody talks about a sustainable community, and they talk about like how they can eat. Like, I've got a friend of mine back in Michigan. He was talking, well, I can't eat grass-fed, grass-finished because I'm just fucking poor guy from Michigan. I'm like, I get it, but you live around fucking deer, asshole. You can shoot fucking deer, and you can have meat all year long. Like, what are you talking about? And I can buy grass-fed beef on the internet for $4 a pound. So what do you mean? Like, that doesn't exist. Like, that's just an obstacle to get around. So I start choosing, like, in all this inequality of commerce, I start going, where am I going to put my dollars? I'd rather buy a $5 tomato than a $2 tomato from my grocer. I'd rather buy it from the farmer's market.
Yeah.
I'd rather spend my money in that kind of a conscious way. And so I started thinking about that. And then I started thinking about, like, all my friends, and I've got a lot of friends in the jiu-jitsu and CrossFit worlds, you know? And CrossFit people, man, it's really starting to come on to where it's not even just heightened athletes and people that are looking for excellence in their function and their performance and their aesthetic of their body, but it's everywhere. It's getting to be really widespread now because a corporate company like Reebok kind of took it over a little bit.
Okay.
But what that offers is still a small community where we have a huge voice.
Yeah.
And I've got friends that make fish oil that are looking to treat people like that. Joe's got Onnit.com.
Yeah.
And Onnit is something that really is trying to spread that kind of health. Like, and so myself and Keith and Lacey Mackey, we all started this Caveman Coffee Co.com. And that started out of a sustainable small farm in Colombia where we met these guys, and we're doing our own roasting, and we're moving into that world. And it started because I started thinking about and talking about this idea of pirate life.
Yeah.
And how can you in this world of a modern day technology still be under the radar and off of corporate horizons, kind of, and off of their radar, and live the life you want to live, and not be conformed to whatever it is that they say you have to live. And it really started years ago. I was talking to Joe, and he's like, man, I was like, dude, I just felt like a loser forever. I couldn't do a 9-to-5 job. There's no way I'm going to law school. Like, I just didn't fit in those ways, you know? Mm-hmm. And really, like I've gotten to be, to manifest a lot of exceptional things in my life. And why is that? You know, it only came to me. I would have been a lawyer if I could have been. I would have worked in a fucking, if I wouldn't have been, you know, in as much trouble as I've been, I'd have been working for Ford, or I'd have been working for General Motors or something in a plant and been happy as fuck. Like, that's a great job where I'm from. You know what I mean? It's like, that's what I would have looked towards, but it didn't happen that way. And I ended up Tait Fletcher instead, you know? And that being the case is, like, I started getting conscious, and I go, let's build what we want then. Instead of being here and sitting here and bitching about the political structure and bitching about how all our food comes in on Cisco trucks and all our food is owned by fucking Nestle or Nabisco or whatever. Nestle's trying to own fucking water.
Yeah.
They want to own drinking water.
Yeah.
How frightening is that? Something that you need, you must have as an organism.
Yeah.
They want to own it, right?
Yeah.
Crazy. It's fucking crazy.
Well, they're working on air. They just haven't figured out how to bottle that.
Well,
shit yet.
it's going to turn into Spaceballs, where we're going to have cans of air that we're going to have to pull out and sniff.
You got AIDS, or you got
I've got AIDS,
something like that.
Yes, everybody knows, Keith. Everybody knows.
Fuck.
But you can get treatments to eradicate viruses. Called ozone therapy. But you can't get it in the United States under levels that are utilizable to kill all of that. Like, so you need to go to Tijuana, to this place called the HIT Center, and get blood transfusions, get your blood ozonated, goes back in your blood. It's a simple procedure, easy to do, but they won't do it here. They won't offer. So when nobody's offering you real help, how do we create that place? And so Pirate Life kind of came up, and so we're looking at building a blog site and kind of a jump off of empowerment for that, for whether it's for health. We've got people that are involved in, like, birthfit.com is a friend of mine's thing about natural health care and birth. My friends at Deuce Gym, at CrossFit LA, my gym at Undisputed Fitness. All these people are this whole community that we have that are viral and that are looking to how to expand them. When I start looking at the jump off of that, like, we started a thing called the Whole Life Challenge about 2 years ago or something like that, 2.5 years ago maybe. It's happened like 4 times. It started with like 40 people in a beta testing group, and it started out at CrossFit LA, and you can find out about it at wholelifechallenge.com. But the motherfuckers got like 15,000 people this time, and like that's just spreading virally, and those are people that are interested in their health, their function, and their performance. It's like, and when you heighten people's consciousness like that, and that's what we're talking about in a land of news and corporate media. It's like what Banksy does when he sees a Coca-Cola billboard somewhere. He alters it. He's like, you're gonna fuck up my view, and you're a terrorist, really, to my consciousness with your advertising. Then I'm gonna fucking then it's mine. It's just become mine. I'm gonna alter it how I see fit. And so the same thing is like, if I'm looking at that with food or with whatever, how do I heighten everybody's consciousness in all these ways? Like, that's what I've been into since then. And so that's what we're looking to do. And I think that we can. I mean, like with Twitter and with things like that, that's how it's taken back the world, right? It's like you look at where Spain kicked it off a couple of years ago with their protests for their government. And then it went to Egypt, it went to Tunisia. It just spread virally everywhere. Greece, like. Then it went to San Francisco, to Oakland, to fucking to Occupy movements in New York. But those guys, the indignados in Spain, they're fucking on Twitter and Facebook, and they're telling people in Oakland, hey, you put Maalox all over your face or whatever, Pepto-Bismol or something, and then when you get tear gassed, it's not going to hurt as badly. You'll still be able to function. And it's like, I mean, whatever, that sounds like an anarchist movement, but it's like there's people that care that are going, I want to put humanity over finance. And there's people that are pushing that agenda in the world, and we're connected virally. And maybe that's the only thing that saves us. So we started companies that are made towards health and happiness and prosperity. And we just started 2 weeks ago, and that's kind of the movement that we're involved in.
Nice. Yeah, that's one thing with everything going on. It's like a lot of people are scared, but there's this great tool called the internet it's really allowing people to evolve around this crap that we built forever ago. Dude, that's not working anymore. I was so inspired
just reading, like when I got involved in the bulletproof movement with Dave Asprey, man, and his site, the bulletproofexec.com, is fucking rad. And here's a guy who's this like shiftless, big fat body that is working on computers all the time, and he's like, I'm sick of my life like this. And like, to me, that's what spoke to me, is like, I'm sick of I can't live this life anymore. And everybody has that at a certain point. And when you have that, and what he did proactively to go, I'm going to biohack myself. I'm like, fuck, I'm interested in this guy. This is interesting to me. So I started looking at that and taking a lot of those kinds of tools, taking tools from Mark Sisson and taking tools from Joe. Joe was like really encouraging to me as far as my podcast and fucking getting on and doing this and all of that. And so it's like, you know, how do we all get to do that? Because like, I don't want to be the biggest nutrition or supplement or coffee guy in the world. I'd rather go and cap it out. Hey, my farms are sustainable for this. I want you in Ohio to make your shit. Let's make your stuff. Like, there's no need to become a Starbucks, or there's no need to become a Walmart. It's like, how do we empower all our communities to be healthy and sufficient? Like, that's what we're looking towards. And so, and maybe that's possible. Maybe that's just a crazy dream, but I'm not going to support the other way while I'm alive. That's
to go into what you were saying before, though, don't you think that a lot of these decisions about like the blood oxygenation, or how did you say that before? Where you can get
the ozone therapy you're talking about.
Ozone therapy.
That. Don't you think, like with that and a lot of cancer research, that it's almost like their form or our government's form of population control?
Well, that's a fact. I mean, when you look at like the Tuskegee Airmen and how they gave them all STDs, or you look at like, and that was in the 50s, right?
St. Louis, they were gassing people for a while back in the 50s. Yeah, the government did like chemical testing on people and would let off chemicals from like building tops.
Well, now they've upgraded that, right? And I mean, you hear Eddie talk about that a lot, right? You know what I mean? I mean, fuck, that seems real plausible to me. That doesn't seem outlandish.
I mean, considering all the
outlandish that we would blow up a couple of buildings in order to institute all this stuff, because it's been billions, literally billions, probably trillions of dollars in wealth for the military-industrial complex and key people like Halliburton. Like, it's fucking trillions of dollars, and it only cost them 3,500 lives at the outset. You know what I mean? And then they killed, of course, millions of Iraqis and Afghanis and a bunch of innocent people after that. But fuck them because they're brown, right?
Yeah,
it's fucking crazy, man. And so that's the thing. Is like, how can I support that?
I've had conversations with guys I know that were in the military and stuff, and I almost feel like a dick, but I'm almost at the point, and I always want to preface this when I say it, but I mean, that whole support your troops. Like, I support these guys who go and defend us, or who go in with the ideal of defending their country. But I mean, just knowing how fucked our government is and where they will send people and everything, it's almost...
Those are 19-year-old children.
Yeah, and I agree, right? But...
And so how open to suggestion are you as a 19-year-old?
Oh, they almost got me.
That's one thing. The other thing is if anybody wants to talk about supporting the troops and to them... Because that's another word that's been altered, right? Is support. What does that look like? And so when people say the phrase supporting the troops, it's like saying, oh, he's a liberal. Or they've changed the fucking definition. So what does support look like? I would ask any fucking dummy. What does support look like? Because what it means when a Republican or when a conservative or when somebody that's on that end of things is saying it, what it means is that you stick them in Afghanistan, you stick them in Iraq, you put them in fucking positions where they're exposed to depleted uranium and they'll die years later. You put them in a position where they're going to have to make horrific choices to do horrific things, and they're going to probably kill themselves when they get back. There'll be one a day that kills themselves for time immemorial while we are in fucking war right now because they're doing such unconscionable things and they're seeing such fucking horrors. So that's their fucking definition of support. I'm fucking sorry. My definition of support is to make people grow and become empowered in a way that they can look universally. What would happen if we sent all those troops and all that money and we taught people how to fucking farm?
Yeah, that's right.
What would that look like? I mean,
I agree 100%.
Looking at this muted viewpoint, I mean, I'm like, I can't even talk to somebody that dumb.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just tremendous the way, and that is kind of the way idiocracy has happened. It's like something as simple as that. Something as simple as like when you look at like the Boston bombing, it's the same thing. And you got people going, yeah, fuck that guy. Well, I'm sorry, but that guy hasn't been tried.
Yeah.
That guy's never been, it's not proven that guy's done anything. And actually, he shot one guy, and then he shot the other guy, so he doesn't even have a voice box. He can't even speak anymore.
Yeah.
So you tried to kill two guys that you wanted to put this on. We don't even know that they did anything. And you've also given away all your rights of search and seizure, of military occupying your house. You've given away constitutional rights by 3 people being blown up.
Yeah.
In the meantime, in other parts of the world, 100 and some people died in Texas in a Halliburton factory explosion, and then we fucking murdered fucking 13 people in drone attacks in Pakistan that day. But like that's all that doesn't matter to us. We're looking at this thing in Boston, like that's insanity, and you get people spun up on that. And I'm like, I can't get into that cycle, you know? It's dizzying.
Well, everybody's plugged into the TV, and there's still people, not everybody is nowadays, more and more trickling away from that, going online, finding alternate sources of information. But a lot of people are still plugged into that TV, and that TV controls what that person will see and hear and know what's going on. And they can only get pumped so much information. So, of course, they want to pump the information that's going to get them on their side for whatever thing they want to do.
Do you guys think that news will go away? Like,
no. I mean, the news...
I think it's only going to get worse.
I think it's changing. I think everything is changing. I think the way businesses are created and how they operate, like what you're doing with the Caveman thing and what Joe's doing with On It, I think those are examples of how businesses are evolving. And I think, with news, you look at these online sources, you look at independent people that are bringing forth information. I think that's changing the way. I think it's just we're finding new ways to access all of these. We're getting rid of everything is fucking dying. Everything old is dying.
I disagree with that. I think that it's such an uphill battle, and you're fighting against trillions of dollars.
Trillions, yeah.
With, let's say at the most, what's Rogan got 100 or 1 million followers. Let's say you're fighting trillions of dollars with 1 million people, and 1 million, let's say how many of those 1 million people that followed Joe actually follow Joe and, the stuff that he's really into, or just follow him because
But
He's the guy
that's
that
you're
announces
comparing it.
UFC.
You're comparing it differently. You're comparing one like big entity.
But I'm also saying news media and everything else because that's the money is TV. Trump.
The fact is this though too is that we don't want to believe the hard truth.
I think a lot of us do,
but not a lot of us.
No.
Maybe 10%, 15%, maybe, because a lot of us are Christians, are Muslims, are Jews, and not to say anything bad, like whatever gets you through the night. But my point is this: is that we have things that are unproven ideas about maybe what afterlife or what origins of life are, and we're willing to believe that a fancified tale, perhaps, if you will. Then we believe reality of what we really know of, like we need to live in this life that we're in and make this life as bomb as we can. And so there's when the majority of people are going, I believe Jesus will come back in my lifetime for a reckoning. When you got the majority that fucking feels that way, bro.
Yeah, it's true.
To me, I don't have a whole lot of hope.
Why save the
Even
earth?
if exposed to the truth, that anybody wants to know that truth.
People like the easiest option, and it's easier for other people
Give me
to tell you
something
what
I can
to
understand
do.
and think about very little. Oh, you got it covered? Cool. I'm going to just go ahead and I'll be changing oil, and then I'm going to go back and watch reruns of Happy Days or whatever. You know what I mean? It's like that's really how most of us are. I mean, when the 2000 election happened and it got stolen from us, we're like, fuck, we can still go to the mall and eat McDonald's. I'm good, whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Bummer he won or whatever, or yay he won or whatever team you were on, but it doesn't matter to us. I mean, they fucking rioted. They turned over statues in France. Goddamn, the French acted up more than us. We got to be embarrassed. God damn it.
You know what? You know what's fucked up to me too. Like I had a lot of friends growing up who were Republican, or their family was Republican, so they just identified with what their family did. And so the worse Bush got to the end, most of them by the end were like, "Yeah, this guy's a dickbag."
Yeah, the only way I like my dad is a fierce Republican, big time. He's into it, so we'd have interesting times at Thanksgiving and stuff.
But by the end, most of them were like, "All right, this guy was a piece of shit."
Right.
He kind of keeps
my
getting.
Dad, it's not until years later that he's. I don't even know if he'd ever go that far, but I was at the end of it all, like after Obama, and he would bitch about Obama and make up names for him and all that stuff, whatever. And I go, hey, I said, I just want you to consider, just for a minute, that there's a guy named Osama bin Laden, and he's the biggest evil guy in the world right now. There's also a guy that's black whose name rhymes with Osama bin Laden. And when you look at his yard sign, it says Obama Biden, which almost looks like Osama bin Laden at a glance.
Yeah.
And did I mention he's black also?
Yeah.
And it took a guy especially gifted as George Bush to degrade the country and the office of the presidency enough to where a bunch of racist, redneck, hillbilly Americans in the majority that love to watch NASCAR and football would vote for a black guy whose name rhymed with the largest terrorist in the fucking world, and they voted him in as president. So it took a guy. Bill Clinton couldn't.
Whose middle name is Hussein.
It took a guy that was as fucked up as George Bush. Like no other president could have fucked it up that badly to where Obama would have gotten into You know what I mean? And my dad was just like, oh, because it wouldn't have happened.
Yeah,
There's just no way.
Yeah,
I loved after he got made. Like they're like, somebody sent me a link and they're like, he's actually the 8th or something black president. And they sent me a list of all these things. You can Google it on the internet about the other black presidents.
Yeah.
And a bunch of mulatto dudes and shit like that. And I started looking at them like, Calvin Coolidge. Guess that is kind of a black name. I don't know any white guy's name. It's like it was awesome when you start looking at all of that and you're like, I don't know, like we're like the idea that we're all some kind of different thing is crazy.
Yeah. Well, nobody knows history. I mean, I don't fucking know history. I barely know. I don't know geography. I don't know like all the shit that you're supposed to quote unquote learn in school didn't really stick. So it's
those
like,
were my favorite subjects.
Right?
Yeah. But it's
I
like
straight A'd all my geography and history.
But even if I did pay attention, well, I mean, I did, and I got good grades. But even if I like retained any of that shit, it's like
They don't teach you the right shit anyway.
yeah, they're only
teach
teaching you what they think is the way. It's whatever they want you to memorize.
What'd you learn about Columbus in school?
There's a lot of versions of history.
Yeah.
What'd you learn about Columbus in school?
Exactly.
What'd you learn about, there's so many things that you learn that are bullshit that you learn later. Like Paul Revere made the fanatical ride or whatever, saying the British are coming. It was Israel Bissell.
At one point,
he did that in the daytime.
Paul Revere rode 17 miles. Israel Bissell rode 134.
The reason they attribute that difference is that he rode in the daytime when most people were at work and they were doing other things and all that shit, and that Paul Revere rode at night when it woke people up. It shook them, and so they took notice of that. Yeah. Like that. I don't know. I don't know if
that history was also written by Paul Revere's buddy.
He had his own PR back then.
Yeah. Like he was like, "Hey, my buddy wrote a book," and I mean,
how'd you guys meet up? San Diego and Ohio.
We've never met before.
Yeah, but
it's like a forbidden love.
Yeah, he was a guest on the show a few times.
I was a guest on the show a couple times, and his co-host left the show, and I said, "Hey, man, if you ever need help, I'll help you out." And since then, we've done about 30 episodes together.
You started
never met each other.
No.
Do you have a plan to?
Yeah, we want to, but I mean, I'm broke as fuck.
It's actually a bunch of people.
I'm a goddamn comedian in Northwest Ohio.
Yeah.
I'm not making bank.
Yeah, I'm not making money. But there's a bunch of people that want
to
meet up in Ohio next year.
So.
Mike Todoran and fucking Brian and you.
Redman, Hinchcliffe.
Really? Tony's from there too.
Yeah.
Tony's from Youngstown. Segura lived in Cincinnati for a while. Ohio's a big. There's a lot of people that live in Ohio.
Yeah.
I think we're like the seventh
swing state, right?
Something, or population-wise. But I don't know. Like, it's fucking shitty here, and that's why people have made it. Is because they can use that pain of how shitty the weather is, how shitty the job market is, and they take it out somewhere else, and they use it as jokes.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. The audiences, Ohio is like so big. It's like always big, and there's a lot of people that come out of there. But who knows? Who knows why it is?
Did you always live in San Diego?
No, I grew up in like the Palm Springs area, and then I moved out to San Diego about 10 years ago. Been out here. A buddy of mine was going to school, went to San Diego State, and I just wanted to get the fuck out of the desert. So,
do you know Cub Swanson?
No, but yeah, he is in Palm Springs too. I think. Yeah. I think he actually went to Indio. I think he lived in Indio, and I grew up like right next to Indio, the city right next to it. But yeah, everybody likes to call it Palm Springs because that's just everybody knows.
Right.
And when I hear Palm Springs, I just think Florida.
Oh yeah, not Florida, but
I don't know why I always think of it as gay, like as a big gay.
It is, yeah. There's a big.
Is it like is that a thing? Like the gays have a great big party there a couple times a year or something like that?
Yeah, they have like pride parades and stuff like that in Palm Springs, and like I guess there's a big gay community in that area. I mean, I don't know how big it is comparatively. Everywhere has, like San Diego has a gay area.
Right,
San Francisco, every big,
But I guess it's smaller. Like Palm Springs is smaller, and they have some resorts, and so if you have a couple big festivals, it's like, and it's a destination thing. There's not shit around it.
Yeah, Palm Springs.
You're going to Palm Springs.
Yeah, Palm Springs was like back in the day. It was the movie stars like getaway because it's only like an hour or something out of L.A. So there's a lot of a lot of people own homes out there and shit. But I don't know. It's growing up in the desert. Everybody goes there in the winter because you can still play golf. It's like 60, 70 degrees during the winter. But the summers, it's like 110 degrees.
It's oppressively hot. Yeah. I've only driven through that motherfucker. And, ugh.
It sucks. So
you don't want to break down for sure.
No. I mean, it's grown. There's a lot more shit there, but, fuck that shit. I prefer San Diego, but, who knows? I might be moving out of San Diego. Who knows where
are you gonna go?
I don't know. I mean, that's with the whole thing with everything going on.
You guys could meet halfway. Maybe you go to St. Louis or something.
Yeah.
Oh, St. Louis, man! I've been there. It's almost just as cold.
Nelly makes it sound awesome.
He does, and the St. Lunatics also. Maybe if I wore a mask or danced around with dreadlocks or wore a Band-Aid on my face, it might be a good place for me. But I don't think I can pull that off.
Yeah. Oh, you can pull it off, Keith. Come on now. You're like a chameleon. Yeah, I don't know. We have a plan to meet out there in March, hopefully. Nice. I think Tom Segura and Christina Pazitsky are doing a live podcast out in Ohio. And I know another podcaster, Izzy Rock, was talking to another buddy of ours, talking about getting everybody out there and doing something. So I was like, if that happens, I need to go. Because then Keith and I, they wanted to set up they might be doing they might be doing live podcasts like Izzy and the guys from Get in the Corner, Yuck Nasty and Dog Baby. So we'll see. Things
cool, man.
You never know. The thing with life is you never know what's around the corner. Like you have all the plans you want, but something gets thrown in the gears, and next thing you know, you gotta change directions and
have fun. Just
exactly.
Whatever it is that you like doing, have fun and do that a bunch.
Well, it's like two years ago here in Ohio.
And what the fuck are you doing smoking cigarettes, stupid?
Yeah. Me?
Yeah.
Oh man, I've been a long time goddamn
can't
cigarette.
Be over there talking. It's like the homeless guy that's like, hey, can you get any change? No, motherfucker, those are $7 a pack. I am not paying for that.
I roll my own. If that makes any fucking difference.
I love you guys with that. No, dude, no.
I roll my own cigarettes because, bro.
Actually, I'm supporting my mother with this. She actually sells them to me, so it's helping cancer. And then the babies in Nicaragua, they're doing way better because every cigarette I smoke adds 3 cents to their shoe fund.
You got it. You got to.
Right before we started, I said, all right, to counteract my cancer that I'm giving myself, I smoke weed after every cigarette.
Perfect. I'm sure that works well.
Kills cancer.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I give myself a little cancer, and then I kill a little cancer, and then I give myself. So I try.
I don't care if you have cancer, but it's the smell. I just can't have the smell. And then when you guys meet each other and you guys kiss, do you think he wants a fresh mouth or some filthy ashtray mouth?
Fuck, I never thought of that.
Ashtray mouth.
Right or what?
Keep tonguing.
Well, first, how the fuck did you know we were gonna kiss when we first met?
How could you not? I mean, look at
this
handsome fella.
That's true. I guess you got it. Nailed it.
I'm not looking my best, man. I'm getting older. I haven't been to the gym in a while.
I think you're a handsome dude. You look good.
Don't judge me on
that Batman shirt. It could be a little tighter, but you do what you can.
Hey, man, it could, but
maybe you do a push up here and there, fill it out a little.
All right, I will say this. In my defense, I was 195 pounds, at 6 foot tall with 2% body fat at a moment. And then I got thrown out of a car doing 70 because I was drunk, and I haven't worked out since.
You must have been very obnoxious.
It is. It was an asshole.
I mean, for somebody to throw you out, you were drunkenly obnoxious.
No.
I think the momentum of the car crashing.
I was driving when I threw myself out of the vehicle.
Oh,
when I hit it.
Let's hear the story. This sounds good.
All right, so I go to a cousin's wedding reception. Or I went to the wedding at the Catholic church. I hadn't been in a church in 10 years. First time I go into a church, we go to the reception afterwards. I drink some beers. I say I'm going home.
When you say some beers, how many beers are we talking about?
10.
Okay.
And I'm going home, right? And I live about 35 minutes away. So I make a pit stop in my hometown, which is halfway in between, and I say, I'm going to go to the bar for a minute because I've already got a good buzz on, and I haven't been at the bar in my hometown for 5 years. Why not have some beers?
You deserve it.
I did. And then I took some shots, which I don't do because I randomly piss on things that aren't the bathroom when I take shots. And so after that, my memory stops. Like, I'm in the bar taking shots, fun time.
In the business, we call that a blackout.
Yeah.
Yes. Good. And then memory starts back up. I open my eyes, and I'm in a very well-lit room with my entire family standing over me. And I'm thinking, well, this is no good. What the fuck just happened?
What happened is you went into 7-Eleven to get some nachos, and your family happened to be there too late. No?
No. They later, or they tried to inform me that they've been telling me for the last hour and a half because I was talking to them, but my memory wasn't working at all. And they explained to me before And again, how I had crashed through a telephone pole, hit a couple trees, rolled my truck, and then flown out, landed on my face, and then slid about 75 feet in the road. Uh, and I was like, what? No, that's not what happened. I was in the bar,
Yeah.
and now I'm here. And they didn't believe me because, I mean,
You can
totally.
see there was a couple holes in the story, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I was in the bar, and now I'm here.
Yeah.
Who ripped my face off? And they were
Aliens.
like,
I don't want to say it's aliens, but it's
yeah.
aliens.
They were like, you ripped
But it
your
was Anheuser-Busch.
I was like, no, I didn't rip my face off. Someone else must have. And then turns out I was wrong.
And do you have long-lasting injuries after that?
Besides the fact that I've been knocked out because of the hockey and football earlier about 12 times in my life,
The answer is no.
I decided to go and do comedy instead of go back into the field that I had been in for years and years. So I kind of pulled the Sam Kinison, where you take a blow to the head, and then you just decide to be funny.
Yeah.
I didn't know that part of Sam's story.
Oh, you've never heard that? It's in his brother's book. Joe's talked about it before, but he took a big shot to the head and actually
He got
came
hit
out
by a car or something like that when he was a
different.
kid.
Wow.
Yeah.
like his brother said that he was always quiet and reserved before. And
So
then
you got no physical maladies.
no, I mean besides the Scarface scar that actually runs through my eye and down
So
below.
that's just cool and street cred. So you got zero fucking reason that you're a listless bum that's sitting on the couch fucking smoking cigarettes instead of swinging a kettlebell around.
Yeah,
That's
but did
what
he-
you're not- That's the long story to get to this.
Yeah.
It's a recliner, but yes.
But did he tell you about his
Not a
great
couch.
how
Fuck you, man.
yeah. he
Goddamn,
smokes
to the chair.
he smokes weed after the cigarette though, so everything's okay.
Right.
Yeah.
That's,
Right.
He's smoking the cigarette, and then when he goes
Yeah,
on
workout,
he's doing
Yes,
one
when I'm off cameras, when I'm doing illegal activities, and then I cough, which gives me an ab workout, which works out my core.
I used to, when I was drinking, I used to think about that. Like I drink to throw up, and I was like, or when I take mushrooms or acid or something, and you laugh so hard, everything hurt, and I was like, just like a workout, basically, you know.
All I got to do is laugh more, a lot, really hard, and then who cares?
Perfect.
That's why I
Good
do
to go.
comedy. That's why, and besides my horrible living, I'm 33. Fuck you, I look like I'm 21. So my living, unfortunately, for most
You want to run a little race?
Yes,
race?
I want to see that.
I'm 240 pounds
looks like they're 50 first.
older than you, and we can race. What do you
Yeah.
think?
100-yard dash, I
So
got.
all I'm saying is that all those excuses.
No
You
worries.
can shit
100-yard
with
dash.
somebody
Well,
else.
I'll race you 100-yard. We're not doing long distance, but if
All right. Don't let me catch you.
but again, I'm 165.
It's not going to be a race.
All right.
Just all you have to do is chase Keith, and then once you knock him down, you say, "I told you so."
All legs, and I have ran away
It'll be
from.
great. This will be our next podcast, boys.
Yeah.
We're gonna have physical expenditure of energy here, and we're gonna see just what Keith's horsepower is, and at what point it's too much before he can hold his stomach in anymore, and he has to throw up.
Well, if you want to sponsor it, man, fly me out to LA. I'll meet Ray
Right.
for the first time.
There we go.
We'll do the physical challenge, and
And
you can.
I'll be a proponent of bringing love together.
There you
You
go.
could.
Yeah.
And you could make me throw up on camera, which
Perfect.
everyone would love.
Yeah. For sure.
Perfect.
Yeah. I'm glad I'm not being included in any of this. Like that's
No,
very
Ray-
good.
Well, that's only because you got such a janky computer that we don't have any picture of you right.
Yeah.
See, Ray is in way worse shape
Shut
than
up,
I am.
Keith.
I
Shut
mean,
up,
it's
Keith.
all right.
Yeah. What's Ray look like? Describe him to me.
Yeah.
Ray looks like you, but
good start.
nerdy and not tough.
Very handsome though. Very. handsome.
Thank you very
That's
much.
what you meant by like me.
Very handsome, but like say where you were a stuntman and used to be a fighter and work out. Ray is the version of you that watches TV all day and plays video games.
I don't play video games.
Jason
First
Hour.
off, I don't play
Yeah.
video games, and but yes, I am out of shape. I'm very out of shape, but I still look good.
But I was an athlete, Ray.
True. I used to play basketball, man. I used to be in good shape. It's not like I was always
All that
lazy.
Used to, guys. Ooh, that just sounds
Oh,
like.
it doesn't. No, it doesn't. I know as much as you.
It's hard to be full off what you ate yesterday. That's all I'm saying.
For sure. Yeah. No, I understand. I'm not making excuses for myself.
And a half of cigarettes a day, guy.
Doing great.
I
That's
don't
only another
smoke
car
cigarettes,
payment. You
though.
could only be driving a brand new BMW. So congratulations on your choices.
That big wreck.
I gotta go, boys.
All right, brother.
All right,
Thank
man.
you.
Thank you guys very much, man. I had a blast.
Go ahead, pimp all your stuff. Where can everybody find you? Your websites, all that stuff.
You can find me at Tatemus Maximus on Instagram and on Twitter. Tait G Fletcher is my fan page on Facebook, and CavemanCoffeeCo.com is where you can read about our special roasts and our coffee. PirateLife.net will be up in a week or two, and it'll be another site, just a interesting place to meet on the web, and that's it.
Fucking awesome, man. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you guys, man. It was a blast. Great to meet you.
All right.
Great to meet you too.
All right, guys.
All right, later.
Later.
Keith.
What's up, Ray? That was fun.
Fuck yeah. So we're still live. Thank you for joining us. For everybody listening, watching live online.
Yeah, and Low Animal, I don't really have AIDS. It was a joke. Fuck you.
Yeah. Is he still? Did he tweet that out again? He's just trying to keep it going. You know, information. Information is important. Everybody needs to know and be safe because they don't want to. Nobody has heard from AIDS for a while, and they don't want to. I mean, aside from the, have you been to LA? Have you slept with any porn stars recently? Because I know there's a little AIDS scare in the porn industry.
I've jerked off to porn.
Maybe it's transferring that way. Maybe it's a new form of technology. It's not technology herpes.
It's technology
techno
AIDS.
Yeah, that's scary.
AIDS?
You know, that's a virus you don't want to get, for sure. On your computer.
I don't want the TAIDs.
TAIDs, no. Fuck no. TAIDs doesn't even.
I mean,
it hurts your tongue just saying it.
But it does sound a lot like Tate. So.
Ooh, burn! you missed it. You could have used that one when he was talking
he's
shit.
gonna really kill me.
I fucking love it's you know
That's
aside
the second professional fighter or former fighter that I've pissed off on the podcast.
Did Matt Brown give you shit too? I can't remember.
Well, he did. Yeah, I kept pressuring him to see who he wanted to fight next. He was like, "You."
Oh yeah.
I'm like, oh fuck, man.
Well, you should be honored, dude, because the next person he called out was George St. Pierre. So
yeah, that was the next person I've heard him call out past me.
So you know,
it was me, then GSP.
He's moving up. He went from like aiming low for some reason, probably just to put you out of your misery, to like aiming. I mean, not as high. I mean, that's as high as you can go in his field.
Sphere, man. He went from the gutter to the stars.
Yeah. Fuck yeah, man. That was good. Good shit. That's what I was saying. Yeah, it was good that we had. So for those that don't know, there was like all kinds of technology problems that I was having right as this show was. And I can't breathe now. Right as the show, I'm so out of shape just hearing him talk to you about running that I can't even breathe myself. I couldn't, like, there's no video. My cameras weren't working. Fucking everything was going wrong. But good thing, he couldn't see me. Neither can you. So he couldn't see how, not that I'm horribly out of shape.
I thought that your Ustream camera was working.
No, the people online who are watching this live can see me, but the Skype camera for you and Tate, you guys couldn't see me.
Yeah, no, we couldn't.
Which is, it helped me. It is beneficial for me. What?
I said I've seen you enough.
Yeah, I know. But, you know, whatever. So, I guess we can wrap it up. You want to go for a little bit longer? Or, I mean, we're almost, where are we at? I guess we got it like a little bit less than a half hour. Before we hit the 2 hour mark.
There were fights over the weekend?
There were?
Yeah.
What fights were they? Wait, were there fights? Are you sure?
Machida.
Oh yeah, that's right. Duh. I didn't
watch them.
You didn't watch them? What the fuck is going on, Keith?
I was at a party, man.
This is the second UFC fight that you.
I was at a Halloween party.
Halloween's Thursday.
Well, not the party that I was at.
I know, but I'm just saying. So yeah, let's talk about the fights that you didn't even watch.
Well, I watched some highlights.
Okay, all right.
I saw Machida kick Munoz's head off in the first round.
That was first off, the card itself was, I mean, after the last card, it was a little, mediocre. I don't want to say mediocre, but it wasn't quite as great as that. But the Lyoto Machida looked great at middleweight. Like, he always looked small for light heavy, and now he's finally down. I want to see him fight Anderson Silva. That would be awesome. He fought Mark Munoz, and him are friends. He went after he knocked him out. He said
that he would fight Anderson.
That'd be awesome, dude. I would love to see them fight, and hopefully it'd be cool to see Lyoto win, and maybe Anderson move up to light heavy. Who knows? Whatever. The Ross Pearson Gillard thing was super disappointing.
Yeah, I saw that, and I mean the cut was pretty bad, but I mean fuck Diego's cut. During the other fight was way worse than that.
Or Diego's cut in almost every fight he's in. He seems to grow a new vagina out of his head.
Opens up a giant chasm in his face every time.
Yeah.
And you know what? After watching that fight, I totally disagree with
what
Joe's comment afterwards of, I know that Joe's an announcer and everything, but it wasn't that great of a fight for
which one?
Diego.
Oh, the great part was that he was
that
getting
they would
beaten.
Just throw in the pocket. That was awesome.
And he almost came. There was a chance in the third round where he almost could have gotten it. He lost the back, and then he was probably just exhaused.
But
and
I mean,
didn't
watching
know where
that
he was.
fight as a whole, with the expectation of what I only saw small highlights, and then the clip of Rogan being like, "That was the best," and it was one of those.
Well, did you watch the link that I posted? I sent you.
That's what I'm talking about.
Well, but here's the thing: the whole card was great, so you're getting led up. It's like, holy fuck, great fight, and then you see that fight, you're already so amped up that you're bringing all that awesomeness into it.
I guess I would get that, but just watching that fight in a solitary by itself, I mean, it doesn't hold a flame to a Hendo Shogun, even though that was a gassed out
or fucking either of the fucking Gray Maynard,
Frankie Edgar
fights. Those are great, and there's a lot of great fights. But yeah, I think when I rewatched it, because I rewatched it and it wasn't as spectacular. I mean, it was still fucking awesome. Great. Yeah,
I mean, if
brawl.
I would have got led up to that by a bunch of great fights, I could see how that would have blown me away.
Yeah, it was. They've been putting on a lot of fucking. There's been a lot of great cards, and people,
But for me, it wasn't Diego. And when Diego said in an interview after that, it should have been a draw. No, it shouldn't. But I will give my dude. That dude is, what was that? His 7th fight of the night.
Yeah, that fight should have been that. If that was a 5-round fight, that would have been really fucking interesting.
That would have been interesting. Yeah. That's what I would have wanted to see.
Yeah.
But if that would have been fight of the night, but I don't know, my intense dislike for Diego, through the years, I think almost taints it too.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, it's fucking Diego Sanchez, whatever.
He's. I mean, ever since he was on the show, he's always been one of those weird kind of. So intense it almost seems fake at times.
Yes.
But when you watch him fight, it's he comes through. That kind of insanity kind of comes through.
He gets, to me, he's like a lot of guys that I knew growing up who would get into a fight, the guys who like to fight.
Yeah. Just fight.
Hit me in the face. Come on. Yeah. Come on. It makes me madder. Come on. But that's not, I mean, granted, he's been really close in a couple weight classes, but that's not the best way to fight. It's you want to.
Chris Lieben, kind of, he'll go in and he takes a lot of punishment. He's an exciting fighter to watch, but it's putting the pieces together.
Lieben's also not the kind of guy that's keep punching me. He
is. He'll literally tell you to punch his head and leave his head out there and take.
I don't know. I don't think they have the same in-ring antics.
No. They're different guys, but mentality-wise, they're gonna
I'll give you
bite.
That.
Yeah, they're gonna fucking.
They keep on the same punch. Lieben's been quoted in interviews saying that until he gets hurt in a fight, he doesn't really know it's a fight.
Yeah. I mean, that's Forrest used to say that. It's like, until I start bleeding, it's like then I know I'm in a fight. And it's, and that it ends up being detrimental in the long
spar all
run.
the time, like, isn't that really the truth? Like, until you really realize that this isn't just
I guess
another one of the 1,000 sessions that you put into the gym.
But at the same time, one of your goals stepping in there, I would assume, would be not to get hit. Like Anderson Silva, aside from the last hit that he got, did pretty well.
For most people, it's never a goal not to get hit. It's a goal to get hit less.
Yeah, okay. That's a better way to put it. Yeah,
I mean, I don't give a fuck how bad. Like, I will land a punch against the best goddamn fighter in the world.
Well, I don't know about that.
No, I mean, at least I don't give a fuck how soft it is.
Yeah.
I will hit him with my fist once.
Maybe.
Even if it's my first punch where he knocks me out.
Yeah, but what if his first punch lands before yours, or his kick? You mean you get a foot in the face?
Believe me.
I'm just saying, Keith. I'm not putting money on you.
I know.
Even
I'm
one
not
punch.
in any shape, form. I'm not a fighter.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, like, if I knew I was in the ring with a goddamn killer, I would plan it so, like, I would run away in terror like a little sissy girl, probably for most of it.
Yeah.
And then one time, see that one opening where I, like, dive and punch. And I'm sure I would hit them, but it would be like a baby hitting them, and then they would just crush me with their giant fist of death.
You just live in that little reality you're in there, and that's fine. Oh, I went and saw Christina P. In San Diego last, when did I go? Saturday.
How was that?
Early fights. Awesome. Second time I saw her. Didn't realize it was a year ago that I saw her, just about. Same comedy club, which I still have the same opinion of that comedy club. You go in there, and it's a bunch of rich, white, 40, 50, 60-year-old guys, wearing their Tommy Bahama shirts, bringing their little trophy wives, or you get, like, the high-class hooker chicks, the girls' night out chicks, where they're, let's go see a comedy club. Oh, she's been on Chelsea lately. Let's go. But it's like because the club is in a mall downtown, upstairs. I think it's a restaurant too, because the club part of it seems to be like secondary, or I don't know. It's kind of a weird setup, but it's like high class. It's not like every other club I've gone into where it's like, dark, club. This is like well lit. I don't know. It's a very weird thing, but she killed it. And everybody, the two openers she had, awesome. Wish I could have remembered their names or, seen where they are. I think they're San Diego comics, but fucking awesome show from start to finish. I myself was having like 3 days of craziness coming out of my asshole. So I was didn't even know if I was going to be able to make the show. And then when I was there, I had to fucking like jet because shit was happening. But yeah. So, but it was fucking great.
Hopefully not in the sink.
No. I found an actual toilet, but she killed it. And the one thing she does, even though it's like one of those stuffy fucking rich fucking right wing crowds, like she still makes them fucking bust up, which is awesome. She just magic trick. It's like all the every like just. It doesn't matter who you are or where you come from. She's gonna fucking make you laugh, and it was hilarious. And this Thursday coming up on Halloween, I'm gonna go to the Death Squad show at the American Comedy Club, which is an awesome club. It's downtown as well, but it's slightly different area. And when you go in, it's like a door on the side of a building. You go in, and then you go down like 2 flights of stairs, and then it's like in a basement. It's a fucking awesome club. So I don't know. There's gonna be a shitload of comics there. I don't know. Sam's supposed to be there. Red Band, Tony, secret guest, which I think is probably Rogan, because they're not contractually able to say he's going to be there, which I think just because of Rogan, he has to go through certain venues.
Or it always seems that Doug Benson seems to be a secret guest.
That would be cool too. That's one comic I haven't seen live yet. Would be Doug Benson. Doug Benson.
Doug Benson.
Have you seen his new? Speaking of Doug Benson. Have you seen Getting Doug with High yet? his new show? It's a new podcast, but it's like a YouTube show. And he basically just gets. I think you can listen to it too, but I don't know why you would. That would be really weird. He's only done like 6 episodes so far, 5 episodes. But it's just him and another comedian, and they just get high the whole time. And he has little segments, or whatever. And at the very end, he makes them see a magic trick. It's a pretty fun show. But it's just him and a guest getting high and talking. Anyway.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
But we should wrap this up because I'm about to pee my pants.
Oh, Jesus, Keith.
And it's just me and you. So
you feel embarrassed that you're going to pee your pants in front of me?
Well, you pooped in front of me once.
A little bit, and the video was off.
No,
maybe
it
wasn't.
You
That's
pooped.
right.
Like, if any poop comes out in
for
your
the
pants,
record, it wasn't like I was sitting on the toilet taking a dump like you might see on Big J the Welder's
you
Vines.
pooped in your pants in your computer chair.
I let go a little fart during the end credits, and it was a hard gas came out. So shit happens.
That's called poop.
I know it's poop. I know it stank. It was bad. I had to change and wash myself. But anyway, I'm not gonna poop right now. But you might pee yourself. So.
Well, I mean, that's fine, and I'm not going to. I mean, I will always just get up and walk away like I do during the show.
Yeah.
I should have a little sign that I just put up in front of the computer that says bathroom break.
Yeah. Whatever.
Whatever.
All right, man. Well,
thanks, everyone, for listening.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Go follow Keith on Twitter at Keith Spurlock1, number 1. Check out his... monthly comedy show on Facebook, Comedy at the Q. Go friend that up. And you got a show coming up, right?
Q-U-E.
You got 2. You got that show coming up, Comedy at the Q, and you got another show coming up next month too, right?
Well, the same night.
Both are on the same night. The Comedy at the Q and the Big Death Squad thing.
No, the Death Squad show is on the 16th.
Okay.
My Comedy at the Q show is on the 1st, and the 1st I also have another show across town.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
But
so what are you doing?
Hit that up. It starts an hour before. I'm the first comic.
Okay. I'm
going to do that and just leave and go to my show.
Nice. Sweet. So, we'll check out Comedy at the Q, and then the 16th is the... Where's that going to be? The tavern?
Columbus.
Yeah, what's the club? You know the club?
The Woodland Tavern's Outdoors.
Tavern.
It's not the actual club, but it's like a block away.
Okay, cool. Awesome. And there's going to be a bunch of Aaron Kleiber was on the show.
Dom Baker, Gio Adesano. A lot of Death Squad fan comics.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome, dude.
But I got to go pee.
Okay, well, I'll finish this up and then...
All right, I'll be back.
Okay. I'll just talk while you're peeing. I have a show coming up. Art show, Ray at Night, it's called. I didn't set it up, just happens to be same name as me. It's on Ray Street in North Park, San Diego. Ray at Night, it's the second Saturday of every month. So November 9th, I will be there. I'm going to have a bunch of artwork. It's older artwork that I've done, but gonna be getting rid of that. Gonna be selling a lot of shirts, prints, all that kind of stuff. I'm marking everything down. Everything must go. I want to start selling work and start doing new work. So I figure this is going to be a good way to force myself to do that. So check that out. It's from 6 to 10 p.m. It's a Saturday. It's November 9th. So check it out, Ray at Night. And then also go purchase the shirt, inspireddisorder.com. Use coupon code INSPIRED, save 10%. Check out hashtagshows.com for all your stand-up comedian needs. See our favorite comedians, where they're playing, and all that stuff. And I think that might be it. Oh, yeah, inspireddisordercollective.com. Go sign up. Join our community. Like Tait was talking about earlier, people starting their own communities, and this is our community. So please sign up and join our community, and welcome. Check out all the podcasts that are part of the community, and artists and all that stuff. So go to inspireddisordercollective.com, sign up, and I think that's gonna just about do it, everybody. So thanks for listening to this episode of the Inspired Disorder podcast, and we'll be back next week with, I believe, Gonzo Green, unless we have somebody else. I'm not sure if he was supposed to be this week, but yeah. So anyway, I think Keith's coming back, so maybe I'll just wait for Keith and we'll just sign out. Right? Maybe. Yeah.
All right, I'm back.
You have anything else to say?
Are we still on?
Yeah, I don't know. I just got done doing the
shit.
sponsors, so I was going to hit the thing, but I heard you, so. You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right. Peace out.
Thank you, Tait Fletcher.
Thank you, Tait Fletcher, the bearded magician. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing anymore.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Inspired Disorder podcast. Embedded signals within this podcast have reprogrammed your natural thinking patterns. Side effects may include lack of inhibitions, erectile dysfunction, anal leakage, transcendental communication with beings from 4 of the 7 primary dimensions. In the event of a tear in space-time, please keep your hands down and feet together. Any loss of life or limbs due to interdimensional travel is not the responsibility of this podcast.